There's something the locals don't say out loud about Blackpine. They've found him changed, not just gone, not just lost in the woods. Something about the scene made even the deputies whisper and cross themselves. Some say it was an animal attack. Others say it was a warning, like the forest itself was angry. That's why I came back, not for the memorial, not for Jared. Because the last time something like this happened, I was the one who walked away. Some places don't forget you. Blackpine isn't the sort of town you return to unless you have to, or unless you can't run from your past anymore. The mist curls around the pines, thick enough to hide anything, a secret, a memory, or something you only see at the corner of your eye. I swore I'd never come back, but here I am, clutching my bag, listening to the rain hissing secrets through the broken streetlights. As the bus pulled away, I caught a shape in the window's reflection, a shadow moving along the tree line, four-legged, loping low. Just my nerves, I told myself. Or maybe not. My phone buzzed. Jared. After a year of silence, now he wants to talk? You need to see me. You owe me. I let it ring and ring again. The words stuck in my mind, opening old wounds. Everyone in this town hides something. Maybe it's just old regrets, or maybe, like me, it's a memory you wish you could erase. But what really happened that night in the woods? Why did I run? And why did Jared stay? And what's moving out there now, after all this time? The town feels different now. The quiet isn't peaceful, it's watchful. At the old motel, Mrs. Mallory handed me my key with a worried frown. "You back for closure?" she asked softly, not saying the word she was really thinking. "Closure," I lied. Outside my window, the rain tapped out a warning. I saw muddy prints on the sidewalk, larger than any dog, but human somehow. 5 toes, but 2 wide apart. Impossible, I thought, but the woods always made room for the impossible. My phone buzzed again. Jared, midnight, water tower, come alone. Our old haunt, a place where we'd made promises we couldn't keep. But tonight, even the air felt heavy, like the world was holding its breath. Tonight, the woods seemed closer. Tonight, the moon hid behind clouds, but something was still out there, watching. Should I call someone? Should I leave? But I can't. Not until I know who or what is out there waiting for me. If you've ever heard something clawing at memory, like this story so it's never forgotten. The woods around Blackpine are never silent. Even when the wind dies and the highway's empty, you can hear the soft rustle of pine needles, the drip of rain from branch to branch, and sometimes something else. A low, almost human sound. Not quite a growl, not quite a moan, something that prickles the skin on your neck and reminds you, out here, you're not alone. I checked my watch. Midnight was an hour away. Too early to meet Jared, too late to call it a night. Restless, I paced the faded carpet, trying to convince myself the old motel hadn't gotten smaller. The room felt like a shoebox. The shadows in the corners didn't move, but they felt deeper somehow, like you could fall in and not come out the same. I ran water in the sink and splashed my face, catching a glimpse of myself in the cracked mirror. Same tired eyes, same scar along my jaw from that night in the woods. I never could explain how I got it. Some stories you can't even tell yourself. A tap at the window. I froze. Just a branch in the wind, I thought, until I saw the outline of fingers, 5 of them, pressed against the fogged glass. I blinked and it was gone, vanished with the next gust. I opened the curtain, heart pounding. The lot was empty except for the old sedan under the security light, puddles shining on the asphalt. Far off, the wood swayed, black and shifting. Suddenly, headlights swept through the rain as a pickup turned onto the street. I ducked back. Paranoia, maybe. But in Blackpine, sometimes paranoia is just self-preservation. My phone buzzed. This time, not Jared. An unknown number. No message. Just a single photo. The water tower, tonight, shot from the base looking up, the ladder slick with rain. In the background, two shadows, one hunched, one tall and thin. My skin crawled. Was it a prank or a warning? My thoughts spiraled. Why now? Why call me back after all this time? Was Jared scared, or was he trying to scare me? I changed into dry clothes, grabbed my jacket and made for the door. As I passed the front desk, Mrs. Mallory looked up from her crossword. Heading out so late? Just some air, I lied, but my voice shook. She hesitated, then slid a faded envelope across the counter. My name scrawled on the front in Jared's handwriting. He dropped this off a week ago, said you'd understand. My hands trembled as I tore it open. Inside, a photograph of us, me, Jared, and two others at the water tower years ago, smiling, arms over each other's shoulders. On the back, a single line. Forgive me. The world seemed to narrow, everything pushing me toward that tower. Outside, the rain had stopped, but fog rolled low and thick. The air smelled sharp, earthy, and underneath it all, something metallic, like old coins or blood, but fainter. I walked the road toward the tower, senses straining for any sound. Somewhere behind, footsteps echoed mine, too faint to be certain, too real to ignore. At the edge of the woods, I paused. The pines loomed, branches dripping. Moonlight slipped through gaps in the clouds, just enough to paint the forest in silver. Streaks. Then I saw it. A shape crouched by the water tower, unmoving. Human, but wrong somehow. Shoulders hunched, arms too long. It didn't move when I called out, didn't answer when I stepped closer. Curiosity burned through the fear. Was it Jared, someone else, or something that remembered us both? Before I could speak again, a second shape darted behind the tower, faster than any person should move. Just a blur, a shadow flickering between trees. My heart hammered, and suddenly I remembered why we never came here alone after dark. Not since that night. I reached into my pocket for my phone, hands shaking. The old photograph felt heavy, like a warning from another life. A twig snapped behind me. I spun, but there was only the dark, the hush, and the cold breath of the forest. Still, I knew I was not alone. Not tonight. He's hiding something, but what? Would you forgive a friend who disappeared for a year? What would you ask first? I never believed in monsters, at least not the kind that live under beds or hide in closets. The real monsters are the ones you carry inside, the ones that remember, even when you try to forget. The air around the water tower was colder than anywhere else in town, and quieter too. I stood just beyond the fence, breath fogging in the silver air. Every instinct told me to leave, to walk back to the warmth of the motel and lock the door. But guilt is a heavy leash, and curiosity is a sharper one. I stepped closer, eyes adjusting to the shifting dark. The first shape was gone, no footprints, nothing but the memory of a silhouette with arms too long and a head tilted at an impossible angle. The only sound was the drip-drip of water from the tower, falling in a slow, steady rhythm. It sounded almost like a heartbeat, or maybe a countdown. I turned the old photograph over in my hand, tracing the faces with my thumb. The laughter, frozen in time, felt like a curse. What had we done that night, really? Why couldn't I remember it all? A sudden, sharp scent hit me. Earthy, wild, and beneath it something metallic. Not strong enough to call it blood, but enough to raise goosebumps. A shadow flickered at the edge of my vision, darting between trees. I spun, but again there was nothing. The woods just pressed closer, quiet as secrets. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A new message from Jared. It's not safe for you here, not anymore. I tried to warn you, please, just go home. But he knew as well as I did. I couldn't go home. Not after everything. Not with the weight in my chest or the dream I kept, having a dream that felt more like a memory. In the dream, the woods are alive. Branches curl like claws. The moon hangs too low, red as a wound. I'm running, breath burning, something chasing just behind. Jared calls out, sometimes pleading, sometimes angry. I never see what's chasing me. Sometimes I wake up with dirt under my nails. Tonight, as I stood there, I realized I could hear it, a faint scraping somewhere between a growl and a whisper threading through the wind. I tried to convince myself it was just my nerves, but my body knew better. I turned toward the trees. Something moved, slow and deliberate. A pair of eyes caught the moonlight, reflecting gold, unblinking. Not animal, not human either. Jared. My voice sounded thin, ridiculous. A low sound answered, almost a voice, almost a growl. You shouldn't have come. The shape stepped forward, half shadow, half man, clothes torn, skin pale, movement stiff and wrong. I saw the scar on his jaw, a mirror of my own. It was Jared, or what was left of him. He didn't attack. He didn't run. He just stood, shaking as if torn between two impossible instincts. His eyes flickered. Fear, shame, and something deeper, older. Do you remember? He whispered. His voice rasped, raw. I tried to answer, but the memories tangled up in my throat. The night in the woods, the argument, the secret we'd buried, the howl that split the sky and left us both changed. A sudden pain lanced through my chest, sharp and cold. I staggered, clutching at my side. My fingers brushed something beneath my shirt, raised skin burning with a cold fire. The old scar glowing faintly in the moonlight. Jared saw it too, his eyes filled with tears, or maybe just rain. It's happening to you now, isn't it? He said, voice barely above a whisper. I couldn't speak. My body felt wrong, bones aching, muscles tensing, vision swimming at the edges. He stepped back into the shadows. You have to leave, he said, before it gets worse, before you hurt someone. But even as he said it, I knew it was already too late. Whatever curse haunted Jared was waking in me too. And somewhere in the woods, something else was listening. A distant howl ripped through the night, closer than before. Not animal, not quite human, something in between. I sank to my knees, fighting the urge to scream, to run, to give in. Was I the monster now, or had I always been? Could the monster be him? Some secrets can't be buried, but they can be warned. Share this before someone else opens the wrong door. Some truths only reveal themselves when the moon is full and the mind is thin as paper. That night, clouds split and the moon poured down, huge and heavy and blood-bright, painting the pines in a color you can't describe, like old secrets or wounds that never quite close. I crawled back against the water tower's rusted legs, breath steaming in the night air. The pain in my chest pulsed with the light, the scar on my side shimmering. My thoughts tangled, looping back to the moment everything changed. Jared stayed in the shadows, watching me. His voice was hollow, echoing with regret, hunger, and fear. We said we'd never talk about it, he whispered, but the woods remember, the moon remembers, and now so do we. My memory flickered, bits and pieces like photographs from another life. The night we ran to the water tower, laughing, hiding from the world. The fight, shouts that shattered the silence, fists that turned to claws before I knew what was happening. The betrayal, the feeling of teeth, not animal, not human, sinking into my arm as I tried to pull Jared back from the edge. It was my fault, or his, or maybe the woods had chosen us both. Two fools who thought secrets would stay buried in the dark. The moon shone brighter, and something in me shifted. I felt my senses sharpen, hearing the twitch of a squirrel in the brush, smelling rain on moss, and beneath it, the old iron tang of fear. Jared dropped to his knees, hands digging into the wet leaves. I thought I could control it, he said. I thought if I stayed away, I'd keep you safe. But the curse isn't just about what we did, it's about what we are. He lifted his shirt and showed me his own scar, a crescent, thin and silvery, pulsing faintly with every beat of his heart. It started the night I betrayed you, the night I let the woods in. And it'll end when one of us does what the other can't. The words echoed, heavy with prophecy. Was that what the woods wanted? A sacrifice, an ending, or just the truth dragged into moonlight? Somewhere nearby, a branch snapped. Something else was watching, drawn by the pain, the memory, the unfinished story. I remembered the old stories our grandparents used to whisper, how the wolf isn't just a beast, but the shape of guilt, the price for broken promises. How the full moon brings out what's hidden, and betrayal leaves a mark no light can erase. "Why did you call me back?" I asked, voice cracking. Jared's eyes glistened in the moonlight. "Because I can't do this alone. Because the curse gets stronger if you try to hide it. Because I'm sorry." A memory crashed over me. The look on Jared's face when I left him that night. The way I told myself I was saving us both even as I ran. If you had to betray one to save many, would you? Is the monster the one who stays or the one who runs? The moon moved behind a cloud, and for a moment the pain eased. Jared knelt in the dark, shoulders shaking. "I need your help," he whispered. "I think it's not just us. There are others. It's spreading. Distant footsteps. The faintest echo of a howl on the wind. We weren't alone. Still here. Then you're already marked. Stay till the end, or run while you can. Could you live with a betrayal that saved lives? Comment your answer. There are nights when the past doesn't just haunt you, it hunts you. Under the blood moon's glare, everything sharpens. The ache in your bones, the secrets on your tongue, the sense that something's moving just beyond the reach of your eyes. Jared and I didn't speak as we circled the water tower. Every step felt heavier, like the ground was remembering us too. A rustle in the brush, then a low voice from the shadows. "Back again." It was Mason, one of our old friends, his face pale, eyes wild. He looked thinner, older, but there was something else, a wariness, a fear he couldn't hide. "What are you doing out here?" Jared asked, his tone raw. Mason's gaze darted to me, then back to the woods. "You heard the stories. They say someone or something is after us. You two started something years ago, and now it's not just your problem. There's more. Out there. People are changing." He stepped into the moonlight and I saw the scar, a pale crescent over his heart, just like ours. Panic clawed up my throat. "How long?" I whispered. Mason shook his head. "A month, maybe more." Nightmares. The feeling something's wrong inside. Last night, I woke up in the woods, barefoot. My hands were muddy. There were scratches on my door when I got home. His voice cracked. "I don't remember what I did." Jared closed, his eyes, shoulders sagging with the weight of guilt. "It's not your fault. None of this is." But Mason shook his head, desperate. "It has to end. One of us has to end it." Lightning flickered in the distance. The air snapped with electricity, the world holding its breath, waiting for the storm. From the trees, a fourth figure appeared, Olivia. Her face was familiar, another friend from long ago, now drawn into the curse's orbit. Her eyes shone with fear and anger. "Did you think you could run from it forever?" She spat, her voice trembling. "We're all marked. Because of you." The words hit like a slap. Memories tumbled, laughter, dares, broken promises. The night it all went wrong. How our secrets had never stayed buried, only changed shape. Suddenly, a howl split the night, closer than before. Something inside me shuddered, a wild urge pulling at the edges of my mind. Olivia's hands clenched into fists. I dream about the woods every night. I dream I'm hunting. But sometimes I think I'm the one being hunted. How do you live with that? I shook my head, lost for words. The truth was I hadn't lived. I'd run, looking for answers in silence and distance. But you can't outrun your own shadow. Maycham, clouds broke and the blood moon glared down. I felt it inside me, bones aching, nerves twitching, vision blurring. Around me, the others staggered, their scars burning like fire. Mason fell to his knees, gasping. "It's happening again," he choked. "I can't stop it." And then it was as if the world folded in on itself. Pain, like lightning through bone, shapes twisting, senses exploding. But there was no violence, just the terror of losing yourself, the horror of becoming something you no longer recognize. I heard Jared's voice in the chaos. Fight it. Don't let it win. But some part of me wanted to give in, to let the curse run wild, to shed every memory and just howl at the moon. Somewhere in the darkness, something howled back. When it passed, I was on my hands and knees, breath burning, the scar over my heart throbbing. Olivia crouched beside me, tears streaking her cheeks. "It's not just you," she whispered. "It's never just been you." For a moment, we were all there together. Broken, afraid, forever changed. Jared looked at me, eyes pleading. "There's still time to break the cycle, but we have to face it together, or it will keep spreading and we'll lose ourselves forever." The truth hit like cold water. The curse was never just about us. The curse was a wound, bleeding, infectious, hungry for more. If we didn't end it, it would keep hunting, keep transforming everyone it touched. A flash of movement in the trees, another pair of eyes. The curse was spreading, and we weren't the only ones marked anymore. The line between human and monster had vanished. The line between human and monster has vanished. Still with me? Then you've heard the howl too. Subscribe before the next full moon finds you. The woods had never felt smaller. Shadows pressed in from every side, broken only by the blood moon blazing through gaps in the pines. The air snapped with every breath, static, electric, alive with a sense of ending. We huddled at the edge of the clearing, scars burning, nerves jangling. I could feel the others' fear, Mason's panic, Olivia's anger, Jared's deep well of regret. The curse wasn't just inside us anymore. It was between us, thick as fog, waiting for one of us to break. Lightning forked through the clouds, casting the world in stark relief. In that flash I saw them, more figures slipping through the trees. Faces half familiar, eyes gleaming, all drawn by the pull of the moon and the old wound that refused to close. Jared turned to me, voice low and shaking. "It's never been about fighting the monster, has it? It's always been about facing what we've done to each other, to ourselves." I nodded. I could feel it now, how the curse fed on betrayal, on guilt, on every moment we turned away instead of toward each other. It was a hunger that grew every time we let fear win. The others stepped into the clearing. Olivia's fists unclenched. Mason wiped his eyes and stood tall, scar glowing. "We can end this," I said, voice barely more than a whisper. But not with claws, not with rage. Jared's eyes glistened. How? I thought of that night, how we'd each run from the truth. I remembered the old story. The only way to break the curse is through sacrifice, through forgiveness that costs. "Something real. We forgive," I said. "We choose each other, even if it hurts." The wind howled, and in it I heard the echoes of every broken promise. The moon brightened, as if waiting. But somewhere behind us, something else moved. Slower, heavier, hungry for the pain we'd tried to bury. Another shape stepped into the clearing, a figure taller than any of us, eyes blazing like twin moons. The curse given form, a final test. It stalked toward us, silent, terrible, all shadow and memory and loss. I felt the scar over my heart burn white hot. I stepped forward, legs shaking, arms open. "I'm not afraid anymore," I said. "If you want to finish this, take me, leave them." Jared grabbed my shoulder. We end it together, no more running. Olivia and Mason joined, each laying a hand over their heart. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the monster stopped, cocked its head, and let out a low, mournful howl. Not a challenge, a farewell. The pain eased, the scars cooled. The shapes at the forest's edge faded, as if the woods themselves were exhaling after holding their breath for years. We stood in the clearing, bathed in moonlight, trembling, but still ourselves. The final choice wasn't violence or surrender, but forgiveness. The curse only wanted us to turn on each other. When we didn't, it lost its power. For a long moment, there was only quiet. Then the moon slipped behind a cloud, and the woods felt open again, empty, peaceful, almost safe. Looked at Jared, at Olivia, at Mason. No one spoke. We just stood together, the way we should have years ago. The scar over my heart still glimmered, but it no longer burned. I felt lighter, not whole maybe, but no longer hunted. We walked out of the woods side by side, as dawn crept over the horizon. One howl, one heartbeat, one last chance, one howl, one heartbeat, one last chance. Subscribe to find out if he makes the right choice. Dawn comes slow in Blackpine. The mist clings to the pines, softening the ruin of the night. My friends and I move through the silence, changed but still together. Every step feels fragile, uncertain, like we're crossing into a world that's almost but not quite the one we left behind. We pass the old water tower. Its paint is peeling, rust tracing streaks down the legs like old wounds. The ground beneath is churned and muddy. For a moment, I half expect to see paw prints or claw marks, but there's nothing. Only footprints, ours, tangled and overlapping, proof that whatever haunted us is fading. Olivia touches the scar above her heart. "Will it ever really be over?" she asks, voice barely a whisper. Jared shrugs, weary. "I don't know. Maybe the curse never really goes. Maybe it just sleeps until the next secret wakes it up." Mason looks back at the woods, thoughtful. "We're not monsters. We never were. We just forgot how to forgive." I say nothing. I can still feel the echo of the night inside me, the temptation, the fear, the wild hunger. It's quieter now, but not gone. Maybe it never leaves. Maybe it just becomes another story, another warning. We stand for a long while, watching the sunrise fight its way through the mist. Light catches the edges of our scars, turning them gold instead of silver. We survived. We're changed, but we're not lost. As the others head home, I linger at the water tower, tracing the old photograph in my pocket. The laughter, the friendship, the promise we all made. I let myself believe we can keep it, even if the woods never truly forget. But as I turn to go, I hear it. A soft, distant howl. Not threatening, not mournful. Just a reminder that the story isn't finished. That somewhere the line between memory and myth is still thin as mist. I leave Blackpine behind, unsure if I'm free or just between storms. The road stretches ahead, empty but open. The sky is clearing, but the moon still lingers, pale and watchful. He walked away, but the woods still watched. If the howl still echoes in your ears, like, share and subscribe. Because next time, it might not be just a story. It might be your street. And for those who hunger for more, step deeper into the shadows with our ultimate werewolf horror playlist, linked in the description below. In the world of horror, the scariest things happen when you least expect them. And trust me, you don't want to be left in the dark. Welcome to the darkness.